Joey Aguilar's eligibility should not be this big of a conversation. And I don't think it is. I think a lot of people are focused on the NFL draft, but if you really get a pulse on what people are talking about with college football, outside of some rankings that may be released by like Fox Sports or whatever college football creator, because that's the time of year, there's been some conversations about eligibility in general and what is the fix? What can we do to fix this? I think there has been what can we call it? A mixed bag of decisions over the course of 5 years, and that's part of the problem. Is there's not this continuity. There's so many decisions that you can look back and say this guy should have gotten it because of X reason, but then you go to one case over and it's the exact same reasoning but a completely different result. There's no continuity here. When we talk about the Joey Aguilar situation, truthfully, they made the right decision. They made the right decision with Aguilar not getting an extra year, and it's better for Tennessee. Is it riskier? Absolutely. I'm sure if we had Josh Heupel on today's show and I got to ask him off camera and say, what do you think the outlook of your program would be, better or worse with Joey Aguilar? I think he would say better. But from my purview and how I'm looking at it at a 50,000 point view, I think for the long term, it's going to be better for Tennessee to start building continuity with that quarterback room. As I believe I said, it was the fifth straight year that they would be having a new transfer come in or a guy that's been waiting in the wings, Nico Imalava, all this different stuff. You will be able to build continuity, whether it is Brandon Faison or George McIntyre. I'd hope either of those guys are at least starting for 2 years. Faison probably for multiple, maybe even 3 years. I think this is going to help Tennessee in the long run. The real talking point when we look at the eligibility, though, because that was a sidebar, that was another piece on just Tennessee. Because if you're a Tennessee fan upset about it, I want you to know, I think you're better off with this. Is then we go to the more, I guess not recent, but the second recent eligibility conversation, which is Trinidad Chambliss. The Trinidad Chambliss thing is not comparable to Joey Aguilar's. Two very different cases. A lot of people are just treating them very similar and saying that they're the exact same thing. They're not. What Joey Aguilar was trying to actually say was saying that the JUCO years that he played football should not count towards his eligibility. Wrong. Nope. You're probably wondering how we got here. That's how it's always been. I understand that in this world of college basketball where we're having former G League players, potential NBA players trying to play, and the lines have never been more blurred on what is eligibility nowadays. I'm sorry. And this is not coming from an athlete. I'll tell you that right now. If you want to close your laptop because I am not a former JUCO or Division I athlete speaking on this, I hear you. If that's how you want to go about your business, completely fine. I am at least educated on and have spent time understanding this just from the nuances of it. JUCO is a risk you take to try to get yourself back to the Division I level. It just is. There's so many great players in the world of college football. Best example I can think of is Cam Newton, for many different reasons, had to go to JUCO. And a lot of it wasn't football related reasons. Got to remember, he was a former 5-star kid at Florida, JUCO, Auburn. That was his journey. And there's a reason why Auburn didn't get multiple years of Cam Newton. Obviously the NFL draft, but he didn't have any other years of eligibility. If I'm remembering that correctly. This is just a part of the sport. You don't just get to bend the rules because you want to keep playing and keep playing. A lot of people focus on COVID. It's just because, truthfully, the problem isn't the COVID years, and it's not the fact that you got this extra year of eligibility. Maybe it was the first domino, but the first domino was pointing to the larger problem, which there's no real decision makers. The NCAA will pick and choose when it wants to stick their nose into a problem and then say, we made that decision. That was us. It ends up being a wrong one. I think Tez Walker was a great example, the former wide receiver out in North Carolina. And then 90% of the other decisions basically go unseen, or they don't care about it, so they basically let a judge decide. And then there's so much manipulation around it. My point being, what Joey was trying to do was trying to say JUCO use doesn't count, very similar to what Diego Pavia argued and all this other stuff. Chambliss had like a real argument that he said, my red shirt year, I had a red shirt year in Division II football for Ferris State, and it was ignored. There's proof of it. There is color commentators talking about how he is redshirted X, Y, and Z. Here's the proof. What is your decision? And they denied him. And so he fought and he fought and he fought, and he got his year of eligibility because it was ignored evidence. You could see how that's different. And frankly, if you want to be of the case and belief that, well, both of them shouldn't got it, I would love to hear the argument on why Trinidad didn't have an argument. I want to know why you don't think he should have gotten his year. I'm of the belief, and it's on this page, that he should have just gone to the NFL draft, because his stock is never going to be as high as it is right now for I would guess, a sub 6 foot quarterback that doesn't have the craziest arm, but really solid athleticism. I mean, maybe at best he's Russell Wilson. And that's a very specific, pointed scenario. I think this is a dumb conversation. The whole Trinidad Chambliss, Joey Aguilar thing. People are overcomplicating it. It's really not this complicated. Aguilar should not have gotten that extra year of eligibility because you set a precedent for thousands of JUCO players to really turn around and say, oh, we got an extra year. We got another extra year, when that doesn't need to be the case. I'm not against of great players coming back to college football. I said it for Chambliss. Do I believe he should have gone in the NFL draft? Yeah. Am I mad that he's coming back to college football and he's going to be on my television screen? Absolutely not. I wouldn't have been mad about Joey Aguilar coming back either. I'm not against good football players playing football. But when it is your time to move on, like it's been for so many decades prior, it's time to move on. That's the truth.